Hello, folks. Welcome back to Mesa Morning Live. This is our February episode. It's hard to say February episode. It's hard for me. But it's great to be back at Channel 11, Cox Mesa Studios. Thank you so much for your gracious hosting of this event while things are still crazy. And this is, we just found out, we just realized this is our 101st episode. So we've got 100 behind us. We're on our way to the second 100 episodes of Mesa Morning Live. You can always find those online. Watch our YouTube channels. You can see some of the prior episodes that you may have missed. If you missed them, I'm not sure why, but you've got plenty of time now. Go back and check them out. Welcome to this month's. We've got a lot of great guests coming. We got some special guests. We've also got a special in-studio guest, the venerable, the esteemed mayor of the greatest city in Arizona, the mayor of Mesa, Arizona, Mr. John Giles. John, welcome back.
Thank you very much. I know if there was a live audience, there'd be an eruption of applause at this point. Oh, there we go. Thank you very much.
Be huge. It would be. Actually, it's a little better that we don't have a live audience when you're on because it's just mayhem.
Right. Security issues.
Pick you up on, carry around.
The paparazzi are there.
Downtown Mesa.
Well, I'm glad I could be here to congratulate Mesa Morning Live on 101 episodes. That, you know, all kidding aside, this has really been a great asset for the city of Mesa. It's a great way to push out information and to promote local business. So I'm excited to be here, and congratulations to the Mesa Chamber of Commerce for having this show for 100 episodes. Well,
all the kudos go to Sally Harrison, our president and CEO of the Mesa Chamber. She does a great job of making sure this happens every month. And it's great for people that, like you said, want to get some information, but they can't come to, when we used to be live at Crescent Crown Distributing, that was on a Friday morning. A lot of people had conflicts, but you can always find us online. So bookmark our page and come back and see it.
Is it okay to point out that we are neither live nor morning for Mesa Morning Live?
We're Mesa early afternoon. Or actually, we're Mesa whenever you want to watch it semi-live.
Mesa pre-recorded in the afternoon.
Yeah,
that's got a kind of a ring to it.
We'd be the only ones with that title.
Okay.
It's just, we got to change the logo and everything. So.
Okay, all right.
But you know, we always have sponsors for our episodes, and we are excited to hear from our sponsor for today's episode. Shannon Hines from Guild Mortgage will be with us here shortly. And man, what a great Mesa Chamber member. And you know, mortgages are, we'll find out more about this, but daily I get emails trying to, they always want to know if my car warranty needs to be updated. And then I ask them to get that one. And then it's something about mortgage rates. So we'll talk, and I'm a moron on both of those, so we'll talk to Shannon.
I don't think Shannon's probably left her office for a few months now, because I hear the mortgage business is hot as pancakes right now.
Oh, I think, yeah.
We are very, very blessed, yes.
Good.
I walked up to get my mail the other day. I came back, there were 3 offers on my house at the, yeah, it was crazy.
If you don't have to buy a new house, that's a good deal.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sleeping in a tent now in the parking lot here at Channel 11. And we'll get into that later. It is always great to be back at Channel 11. They do such a great job. Thank you for that. Mayor, buckle up. We've got a lot of stuff coming your way.
I'm excited.
The aforementioned Shannon Hines is our sponsor guest. She is the, Shannon, are you the president? Are you the CEO? Are you the owner of Guild Mortgage? Welcome to Mesa Morning Live, Shannon Hines.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, Guild, I am blessed. I work for a very large company. Guild was created in 1960 by a home builder, and he really got tired of dealing with other mortgage companies. And so he said, I'm going to create my own. And we've ever since. We actually just went public last year.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you're the local Guild guru.
I am, yes.
Well, let's just get right into it. I know mortgage rates are good now. Were they better and now they're climbing a little bit? I guess what I'm saying is, should you refinance this afternoon?
Yes. Yes, we have seen a little bit of an increase in interest rates. And when I say little, I mean very little. So you haven't missed anything. Rates are still really, really good. We're talking low 2s for 15 years, mid to high 2s for 30-year fix. So they are better than ever.
Wow, that's crazy. You know, you don't know this about me because I'm pretty secretive. But years ago, before I started doing what I used to do. I used to sell brand new homes. I worked for a home builder here in the Valley, and I remember trying to sell homes when interest rates were 16%. And somehow you just made it happen, and you really played off the interest deduction, and people bought. But now when you hear numbers in the twos, it just seems, I mean, they're giving it away.
That's what I say that all the time. Your mortgage payments are practically free. It is incredible how much a rate helps the affordability for someone. So now is the time to buy. It's hard because, as we mentioned before, inventory is super tight. If anyone has a house to sell right now is the time, because I have buyers for you ready to go. So buyers are ready. The loans are great. It's just we don't have enough inventory on the market.
Wow. So, okay, we know the market's hot. It's not just us saying it. It's not the mayor saying it. It's national news is saying how hot Phoenix is. Any idea roughly how many homes are sold or listed and sold every day in the Valley?
We have averaged, just this year, we have averaged about 230 closings per day, which is a lot. But with the amount of buyers that we have ready to take advantage of the low rates, we could be closing so many more. We only have right now about 3,450 in active listings on the MLS. 3,400 active listings for all the buyers we have.
Wow.
We're the number 3 state right now in relocation. So we have people moving here, purchasing homes, and people that live here don't have enough inventory to purchase.
Wow, that's crazy.
We need your homes. List.
We should talk. I need to sell my house. What can somebody do if you're there's so much competition because it is a seller's market. So if you're a buyer, what's the best way to prepare so that your offer is got a better chance of being accepted?
Yeah, Guild actually just came out with a unique product a couple of weeks ago. We have a bridge loan, and that we are able to take the down payment from your current house without you having to sell it, and take money for the new down payment, and what we call writing the offer non-contingent. So you don't have to wait for that home to sell in order to qualify for the new home. So that's been a huge lift for us to be able to get our buyers out there. The other thing that Guild has is we are a direct servicer for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So we keep our loans, we don't sell them off. And that allows us to do a free recast. So we already talked about a refinance. A refinance is where you're getting a new rate, a new term, you pay the fees. A recast is where you actually just make a principal payment to the balance, and then we recast the loan over the 30 years to drop the payment for you. So that free recast could be utilized after they sell their home and they have that lump sum of money put down toward the new home. So we have some great options for people that don't want to make a contingent offer.
Oh, that's great. Now, what's the best way for buyers and sellers to get a hold of you? Do you have a web presence you'd like to talk about, or should they call you directly, or what's going on, Shannon?
Yes, no, I do. You can visit my website it's just my name, shannonheinze.com, ShannonHeinze.com.
So like the ketchup with an extra E on the end.
That is correct. Yes, we added the E.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I know behind you, I see I'm guessing that's your slogan there, work hard and stay humble. And boy, that encapsulates your attitude. I know you're a hard worker. You do a great job. I know your buyers and sellers love working with you. That's why Guild is growing by leaps and bounds. Any last thing you'd like to say to buyers and sellers?
Well, buyers and sellers, now's the time. I know that it's scary to sell your house because you have to find a new one. You can do it. It might take a little bit of work, but you can do it. It's such a great time to take advantage of the low rate. Refinance is the same thing. Great time to take advantage.
That's great. Hey, today we've got our big special heavy guest that's coming on later. The big hitter is Mr. ASU. I understand you have a connection to ASU. Would you like to share that with us?
Yes. So I met my husband 25 years ago at ASU, our freshman year. We have been married for now 16 years, have 2 kids, and we have been football season ticket holders at ASU since we met. So for 5 years, we have been the biggest Devils fans. So Orcs up.
Well, that's awesome. But you may not be the biggest Devil fans because we've got a couple in the chamber that are kind of, they bleed maroon and gold. But
I bleed maroon and gold. I'd go up against that toe to toe.
That's awesome. Well, Shannon, thanks for taking time out of your busy day. I know mortgage business it's not a 9-to-5 industry. It's around the clock. Things are happening constantly and things are changing. Thanks for being a guest on Mesa Morning Live. We can't wait till we love you on the Zoom look here, but we can't wait until we're getting back together at Crescent Crown and you can come be a guest with us in person.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, give Shannon Hines at Guild Mortgage a call. She'll take good care of you. And you know, your home is the biggest financial decision of your life for most people. Why would you trust it with somebody, you know, Bob's Mortgage? No offense, Bob. Wouldn't do it.
No, call someone local.
Yeah, there you go. Local. I thought you said loco.
Both.
Okay. Call someone loco. Then call Bob. Thanks, Shannon. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right. You know, one of the cool things that we do every month is one of our episodes, one of our segments in the show is a community spotlight. This is sponsored by Gateway Bank, who, by the way, talk about a local bank that wants your business and earns it. Make sure you check with the good folks at Gateway Bank. This is kind of a way to focus on our nonprofit, which Mesa is heavily invested in. And today we've got a very special guest. He's going to talk about COVID and how that's affected his duties. But please welcome from the Mesa HoHoKams, Mr. Steve Adams. The Mesa HoHoKams, by the way, started in 1951, before Steve was around, as a special events committee of the Mesa Chamber. It was started by Dwight Patterson. They've grown by leaps and bounds. Every year they have what they refer to as the Big Ho. And it is an endearing term, contrary to how it might sound to the uninitiated, but it's a pleasure to have with us today the Big Ho, Mr. Steve Adams. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mark. I'm glad to be here, talk about what's going on with our organization and spring training. You know, you mentioned the Big Ho rank here, or our description. We are very proud of that. We don't know what's going to happen when we elect our first woman president, but we'll see what happens with that.
I have a feeling there might be a change in the title.
There might be. Yes, there might be.
Just guessing. And by the way, we're open to suggestions on that if you'd like to email us with possible names.
Actually, the term is Big Chief Ho, but we've shortened it. So.
Oh, well, for you especially. We just cut to the chase. Well, I know, you know, Mesa is the spring training home for the Chicago Cubs, which I believe is still the largest attended in normal times. I'm so sick of saying that, yes. In normal times. My Major League spring training team, and the Oakland A's, both gorgeous stadiums, huge driver of economics into the Mesa area and the Mesa charitable arena. And a lot of that comes from the 50-50 raffle that you guys do at all the games. Would you like to talk a little bit about that, Steve?
Yeah, we started the 50-50 raffle many, many years ago. It's just kind of a thing to do in the ballpark. We actually were splitting tickets, you know, raffle tickets, where we'd sell 10 tickets and tear them up and all this. And over the years, it's becoming basically a gaming operation within the ballpark. You know, it's all computerized, and we, you know, sell tickets, you know, through using our terminals. It's like I said, it's become a big gaming operation. I think a couple of years ago we did about $450,000, $460,000 in sales between the two parks. Split that in half, and then we distributed to the, you know, that our half to the community. So it's been a great godsend to, you know, what we're doing at spring training.
That is awesome.
And to the community.
Speaking of your fellow HoHoKams, how many members are involved and active?
Right now we have probably we have about 170 members active, almost all of them. It's maybe 155, something like that are actually active. Our average age of our organization is probably in the mid-60s. So, you know, you can tell that, you know, we have a lot of retirees and people who are very interested in the community and spring training and, you know, promoting spring training. You
didn't say that mid-60s in any way that was disparaging at all, did you? Like mocking someone that maybe...
No, because Unfortunately, in the last year or two, I went over the average. So,
yeah, exactly.
I think that's a young age now.
Exactly. It's the oldest I've ever been, and it's just getting weirder.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Hey, the elephant's the Oakland A's mascot, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
The elephant in the room is COVID. What's going on? Do you personally have any idea on when this is going to be over the hump and behind us? And how does it change what the HoHoKams are doing?
Yeah. Well, I only can do what Dr. Fauci says, and he says we're going to go through the fall. So I think we're going to have to live with that. We back in March of last year, basically we had a hard close on our spring training around March 13th. We all showed up to the game one day and they said, no, we're not going to have a game now or forever or for the rest of the year. And it was pretty drastic. Since then, as we look into this next year, we are looking at both clubs doing a limited seating type of situation. Spring training starts and it's scheduled to start February 27th. And as far as I know, I believe that it will start on February 27th. So the A's will be somewhere 2,500, 3,000 in the stands. The Cubs will have 4,000 in the stands. They'll be separated in family pods type of thing, 2 to 6 or 1 to 6, I guess, people basically on the aisles and 3 or 4 rows away from the home plate. So it's going to be very limited. It's going to affect, our probably our revenue from both clubs, and it's going to affect the amount of 50-50 tickets we sell.
Yep.
And quite honest, this last year, we take most of the money that we receive, and we're kind of a pass-through organization where the money we receive from the clubs, we pass through to the community in donations. And that basically got cut in half from the prior year for 2019. And probably looking at something around the same type of revenue cut on that. So for going forward for 2020.
That's crazy. Well, I know everybody, when you think of the HoHoKams, you think about spring training, which is a couple of months. But you guys are active around the clock, all year long. Tell us some of the stuff you do besides spring training.
Well, I mean, most of the stuff we do is related to baseball or sports, and it's also related to some of the donations we do. I mean, we do cookouts at like the men's shelter in Mesa. We got together and we did food distribution with the United Food Bank a couple weeks ago. So we're trying to stay active in things that we do. And every once in a while we'll do another fundraiser event to try to raise more funds for the community. But a lot of, it seems like anytime, the WAC baseball tournament comes in and we help man, woman, that during the season. So we try to stay active. This last year has been kind of non-active to the extent that, we did the food drive, but we're chomping at the bit to get out and do something. I mean, when I call for volunteers to do something, massive turnouts because we want to do something.
That's great. Hey, I don't think I ever anticipated asking somebody this question, but how does one become a Ho?
Well, besides being a Ho for the day like you do almost every year, Mark.
That's just the one I know about.
and we love it when you come out. And I think last year the mayor, who's sitting right next to you, did the same shtick. So it was pretty nice. Actually, the mayor is a honorary Ho as he is. So
true.
He might even not have known that. So.
No, I knew that. You don't often get honorary and Ho in the same, title.
Well, you can't spell honorary without Ho.
That's true. Hey,
but to be,
if you don't mind, I just wanted, before I give up the floor, Steve, I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the community, because you're kind of underplaying a lot the contributions that the HoHoKams make to our community, and your focus on youth sports in particular. You guys put on high school track meets and swim meets and the funding that you give to Little League teams and other youth-oriented sports tournaments and leagues in the city is, I'm not sure how we're going to do it, you know, with the revenue cuts that you're experiencing. So I just want to say on behalf of all particularly the youth in our community that have been such beneficiaries of your generosity, thank you so much. We're going to do everything we can to have the best spring training we can this year. You know, we're going to make lemonade out of the lemons, and at least we'll have 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 people coming out. I think, you know, it might be an opportunity for locals maybe to get into the stadium. You know, well, I guess what I want to say is don't just not try to go to a spring training game this year.
Yes.
We'll figure out what the ticket distribution is going to be, and it's going to be great baseball. And it's probably going to be a lot of fun to be able to put your feet up on the seats and you know, have a little elbow room when you're watching the game. So
and we're going to be very, very safe. I mean, we're going to follow all the protocols, socially distancing. Everybody wears a mask the whole time when you're in the facility. So it is going to be very safe to attend a spring training game.
That's good to know.
So to answer Mark, to answer your question. Basically, you need to be nominated by a current member to be elected, and then when we have a meeting, you need to receive over 50% of the votes of the people eligible to vote. So it's pretty. Over the years, people have been up 2, 3, 4 times before they're actually elected as a member.
Well, that is good to know. And you know what? If you're watching this at home and you really know all the great work that the HoHoKams do, and you feel like, what can I do to, I can't go to the game, maybe it's not a good fit for me. Do you guys accept donations over the internet? How can somebody give the HoHoKams money that then gets passed through to needy charities?
Well, yes, we do have a foundation, and we've set up on our website to donate directly to the foundation. Actually, we're fine-tuning that right now, but there will be a donation button on the website within the next few days. So
that's awesome.
You know, as spring training has declined in the last year and a half, you know, that we're looking at other sources of revenue.
That's great. Well, Steve, we joke around a lot about it, and I know you take this job or this position very, very seriously. I know a lot of your fellow Ho's, and boy, they're just great guys. They love baseball. They love interacting with each other. They love Mesa, and they love that feeling.
It is a great organization. Has a great history, and we really appreciate everything that. I appreciate everything all the former members have done and all the current members are doing. We're a very, very hardworking organization.
Well, none of your predecessors in your position have had to deal with this, with the pandemic. I hope you're the only one, but you're handling it beautifully. And let's.
Oh well, thank you.
Get back to
I want to go, but then I have to stop because you can't do a lot of things.
Well, like you said, go ahead and see some baseball. I'll tell you what, those two stadiums, Sloan Field and the ASU Stadium.
HoHo Camp.
HoHo Camp. Yeah, well, it's just gorgeous.
Oh,
it's why if you live in Arizona, it's one of the reasons you should go. I mean, it's.
You know, a while back, I started this hashtag Why I Live in Mesa, and it was a brainstorm that occurred while I was frankly sitting at a spring training game and saying, what a shame it would be for somebody to live in Mesa and to not take full advantage of all the things that are kind of unique and special about our community. And spring training is definitely one of them. So if you live in Mesa and for some reason haven't had that experience, you really that needs to be a bucket list thing for everybody that lives in Mesa.
Yep. You know, you meet people in Arizona all the time that say, I've never been to the Grand Canyon. And you go, but then that's a long drive and you got to put yourself up. Come to one of these stadiums, hang out for a day, soak up some vitamin D, which I'm no doctor, but I wear a mask and I get vitamin D. And Dr. Fauci would tell you those are two great things to do. So, Steve, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come be with us.
Appreciate the opportunity.
You bet. And we'll get through this, and in the meantime, watch some good baseball.
Good. Definitely.
At this time, I know he's, talk about a busy guy, our special guest today. And maybe you'd like to say a few things about our honorary guest.
Oh, well, thank you, Dr. Crow. It's such a pleasure to have you virtually with us in Mesa. We are, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the partnership that our community and Arizona State University have enjoyed for so many years. The exciting new downtown developments, but with Poly and all the other ways that you have been such a great contributor to the people of Mesa. We were talking to, you don't know this, Dr. Crow, but the earlier guests were talking about what loyal ASU alum we are. I don't think there's another city anywhere that is more ASU alum rich and such loyal devils as Mesa. So you're among friends, and we again just want to express our appreciation to you for your willingness to come to Mesa as in order to serve. And the way that you're addressing the challenges and the needs of our community. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Mayor. Happy to be here. It's very exciting. Mesa is one of America's, most forward-moving cities, one of its big cities, one of the 50 largest cities in the United States. And, with a fantastically successful educational system, with the Mesa Public Schools, with other colleges that are there, Mesa Community College, ASU Polytechnic Campus, ASU Downtown Mesa. We're very excited to be a part of where Mesa is headed, and very excited to be a part of where your leadership is taking Mesa in sort of a renaissance in terms of where the city's going economically and competitively. It's very exciting.
Thank you, Dr. Crow, for being here. I know, talk about busy. Things are coming and changing lightning fast in your position. I moved to Arizona in 1982, and when you thought about ASU, you thought about Tempe. That was just kind of what was ASU. Now it's taken over the whole state. And
well, 1982. Arizona is a new place at the 48th of the lower 48. It's a place that's really rapidly evolved just the last couple of generations. And in 82, ASU was a very solid regional college, but not a national or global research university with a presence throughout the entire valley, drawing all the talent and the energy from the valley and from the rest of Arizona. So, we have emerged in those 40 years since you came, 39 years ago. We've emerged as the newest type of global research university, deeply embedded in our local communities, including Mesa, where we've got the Polytechnic campus that we're going to be expanding and evolving even in just coming up in the next couple of years in very significant ways. The Downtown Mesa program, we've got thousands of people, tens of thousands of people from Mesa who are a part of our various educational activities. So we're very different than we were in 82 by every measure. Absolutely.
The obvious question is, how has COVID affected ASU? What are you guys doing to be flexible and yet at the same time continue great education and to be safe?
COVID is a negative manifestation of a growing complexity on the planet. So it is the latest virus of several, and the latest of many yet to come. And so we look at this as an opportunity to be of greater service. We built testing systems that are high-speed, saliva-based PCR, 99% plus accurate. We've deployed those across the state, working with the state. We're a 24/7 institution. We haven't stopped working for 1 minute in the last 13 months that COVID has been here in Arizona. We have tested hundreds of thousands of people. We've graduated more students than we've ever graduated. We have more students than we've ever had. Right now, we're fully operational, 24/7. I think the main thing that we've learned from COVID is how to accelerate our innovation, how to be of greater service, how to never shut down, how to always move forward, how to always adapt, always adjust. And so what we found is that you can do that. It just requires lots of energy, lots of focus, lots of discipline, and lots of people really willing to work really hard, and we've got those.
Mark, do you mind, Dr. Crow, I had the privilege of teaching as an adjunct a class last semester on campus, and I was really impressed with all of the protocols that ASU put into place to protect the students and the faculty. And it seems like on a national level that there were several large respected institutions that really struggled with that, that were in the headlines, but ASU was not one of them. It seems like you really were an overachiever in terms of the way that the university responded. Is that? Well,
I mean, and it's driven by the notion of either you think of yourself as essential or not, and we are essential. We're essential to people's lives. We're essential to the advancement of society. We're essential to families who are wanting their children to move ahead, and families who want their family members to move ahead. And so, Mayor, the approach that we took was that we don't work for COVID. And so, we work for the people, and that means we have to figure out how to move things forward. We have this model that we call the Swiss cheese model. So all of the tools that fight COVID are filled with holes, like masks, not necessary but insufficient, testing, necessary but insufficient, daily health tests, necessary but insufficient. But if you take all these tools together, the vaccines are necessary but insufficient. If you put them all together, COVID can't get through. If you don't have them together, COVID can get through. And so we took this approach of many, many tools. We have a daily health check that we built that has tens of thousands of users every day, tells you to stay home, not stay home, get a test, not get a test. We have random testing. All this stuff is going to be required even after the vaccines are deployed, because the vaccines are a temporary solution. So the approach, Mayor, is take every tool imaginable, build a cohesive response, and then let it go, and then you can make it work. Our test positivity rates right now for employees are 0.5%. For students are less than that, and so we're operating in a kind of a mini bubble, which works.
That's amazing. I look back on my college days, and I realized I was kind of ahead of the curve. I missed a lot of classes, and I'm thinking I was just being proactive. My grades would.
You were searching for Zoom. See what you wanted is what we now have. So in our 1,000 classrooms, you can just Zoom in if you can't get to class, or maybe you've been infected or you've been exposed and whatever. So any person, faculty or student, can move in and out of any classroom on Zoom. Over 1,000 classrooms, 75,000 learners. For our full immersion program, and then we have another 85,000 students that are digitally immersed with us, so 150,000 students.
Wow, that's fascinating. I just had to rely on the smart guy that sat next to me going to class, but that's probably nothing you want to hear, Dr. Crow.
You were quarantining before quarantine.
Yes, exactly. Cool. I was a trendsetter. I'm going to read this because I know this is critical, and I want to ask you the question properly. I know the university assigned some important content creator partners. Explain what that is, and maybe describe some of that.
Well, so one of the things that we found the last few years is that we can greatly enhance educational outcomes by personalizing and individualizing the learning experiences. So we've built relationships with over 200 educational technology companies. We've greatly transformed the technological assist that people have. Intelligent tutors working with individual students, computational assistants, what's called adaptive learning, and so forth. And in the middle of the pandemic, what we've done, and this even segues into things that we're going to be doing in the Mesa City Center with the City of Mesa and ASU, we did a partnership with a company in Los Angeles called Dreamscape Immersive, founded by a guy named Walter Parks, with Steven Spielberg as one of the creative forces behind it. And in dealing with Walter and Steven, what we found is a way to take full Hollywood scale, avatar driven, full immersive virtual reality experiences that they've built for entertainment. We're now converting those and adapting those to teaching science. And we have already built these. We're deploying more of them, and we will be fully deployed by next January with the most advanced mechanisms to learn science, biology in this case, while you take a trip to an orbiting alien zoo 12 light years away, where you're immersed as the scientist with other students from around the country, around the world, in that alien zoo, learning evolutionary biology, learning disease pathogen pathways, learning about ribonucleic acid structures, and all of this going on while you're an avatar character in essentially a scientific movie, which is built as a classroom. And so all of that has been launched since COVID, is under development now, and will be deployed in January.
It's phenomenal.
Dr. Crow, I'm here on a mission to ask you just one question, and so I kind of elbowed my way into the room because I get asked this question all the time, and I'm interested to get your take on it. I'm sure you know the enthusiasm for the ASU Mesa City Center facility is really just growing every day. I mean, that building is taking shape, and we really have an appetite, or we just can't wait for it to be open and to have the impact both socially and economically in our downtown that we know it's going to have. But what is your, I know you've spoken about this before, ASU didn't come to Mesa's downtown wanting to just have, one building. What is your vision for ASU's involvement in Mesa's downtown, once the Sidney Poitier School is up, and how do you see it progressing?
Well, I mean, so Mesa, is one of these 500,000 person cities, the size of St. Louis, the size of Boston, which is emerging a downtown city center, and all major downtown city centers around the country now are increasingly connected to higher levels of creativity, empowerment, educational attainment. So we're very excited to be a part of the resurgence and emergence of the new Mesa downtown, where we will start with the ASU Mesa City Center facility and the Sidney Poitier New American Film School. Everything digital creativity, digital expression. And then we're also moving with the city to expand our Edson Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, where we can help incubate companies, spin out companies. We're looking to expand our university on the model of one university in many places. And that means we don't think that universities should just be fortress camps with walls of ivy that you earn your way into if you have wealthy parents or get straight A's in high school. What we think that universities should do is it should be basically distributed, connected throughout the community. So that's why we have the law school in downtown Phoenix and the brand new facilities in downtown Mesa and all the things that we're going to do on the Polytechnic campus. And then we use technology to tie everyone together. So Mayor, our long-term vision for our partnership with Mesa is really that we're a part of the emergence of what will be, one of the great future cities of the United States, with vibrant creativity, new job creation, a more broadly educated population, new companies, new enterprises, new activity, new empowerment, new centers for creativity. It's kind of funny. Like, I'm a big believer that it really fascinates me that other parts of the country are this or that. So what? What do we want this place to be? How do we want it to evolve? So we're very excited to evolve ASU's presence in downtown Phoenix, all the way from kindergarten, all the way through graduate school, all the way to lifelong and universal education for the population of the citizens of Mesa. So we're very much focused on that.
You both lightly touched on the new Sidney Poitier Film School that's going to be housed in Mesa. Talk a little bit about that for our viewers at home. That's got to be quite a feather in your cap for Mesa and ASU. How does something like that happen?
Well, I mean, one, you need partners like the city of Mesa to be able to build a world-class facility, so that when we're talking to Sidney Poitier about what would it take to build a truly egalitarian, democratic film school, one that isn't elitist, one that isn't small in size, one that isn't infinitely expensive, one that allows community filmmaking, not just national filmmaking. And so Mesa is our partner. Mesa is our co-investor. And so the film school will actually operate in Mesa, Tempe, and Los Angeles. And students will be moving between those three sites in our new facilities that we have in downtown Los Angeles also, which then allows us to scale. So we will ultimately have thousands of film majors and film minors. A film minor for a mechanical engineering student could change the way that one solves engineering problems. A film minor for a student working in business could help us to figure out new ways to do marketing and so forth and so on, in addition to the fantastic opportunities for creativity being driven by digital technology that the new facility in Mesa will permit.
That's phenomenal. And I'm just making a note to myself. I'm going to try and get a little diner space somewhere close by, and I'm going to call it "Guess Who's Coming to Dinner." Now, this is just
which was a very good movie.
Yeah, very good movie, and it's pretty obvious to see why I'm unemployed right now.
Sidney Poitier's got some great movies.
Oh, you okay? They call me Mr. Tibbs.
Yes,
my favorites.
I just watched Lilies of the Field, where he won his Best Actor Academy Award, filmed in Arizona. I think we're going to see a big surge on Netflix with Sidney Poitier, at least in the Mesa area.
That's fantastic.
Do you mind, Dr. Crow? We could spend the whole time talking about downtown, but the Poly campus is such a jewel in our community, and it's a self-contained campus. You can go from freshman through graduating, as a senior, just staying at Poly. And I know you've opened new dormitories, you've added new programs. That campus is really continuing to grow in a significant way. What's next for Poly? Do you see it expanding in a particular direction?
I do, Mayor. In fact, our goal for the Polytechnic campus of ASU is that it becomes a 15 to 20,000 student university campus, that it becomes competitive with larger polytechnics around the country, like Worcester Polytechnic Institute or the Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh. And the notion is a concentration around problem solving and solutions-driven learning. As you said, we just finished a new dorm there. We've been continuing to evolve the campus and its degree programs. And our next big move there has two manifest parts to it. One, we'll be designing and launching a new school for advanced manufacturing. And we will headquarter that school as a part of the Fulton Schools of Engineering at the Polytechnic campus. We're going to be seeking partners to build a world-class advanced manufacturing center, which will then help Metro Phoenix, Mesa and Metro Phoenix, the East Valley, become more and more of a center for new advanced manufacturing in electric vehicles, batteries, microelectronics, hydrogen systems, hydrogen-based energy systems, renewable energy systems, all the things that have to be manufactured in really advanced ways, as well as laying the foundation for the region to become a distributed manufacturing network. One of the things that we've learned during COVID is that PPE can be manufactured anywhere. So all the restaurants that went out of business, if they'd had 3D printers, the same skill set, the same staff could have been manufacturing PPE. And so we have a way to distribute manufacturing now across the population using the internet. Well, we need those systems to be developed. And then the second thing on the Poly campus, Mayor, going forward is that we're doing everything that we can to invigorate the several hundred acres that we've set aside as the next innovation corridor or innovation district, like the one that we have in Tempe, like the one that we have in Scottsdale at SkySong. And so this would be larger and more linked to manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, complex manufacturing, manufacturing support systems. And so we're very excited to get both of those projects going on the Polytechnic campus.
We've heard a lot over the last year that the pandemic has just accelerated what was already happening. How do you see that as far as job creation, or what parts does ASU play in the future of that? It's a really important question, and it gets all mixed up, because it turns out that since the pandemic started, if a person didn't finish high school, there's 25% fewer jobs for those folks. And it doesn't mean that the people that didn't finish high school aren't capable of working or don't want to work. They are very capable of working and do want to work. But what's happening is that more and more jobs now are becoming technologically enriched or replaced by technology, then creating new jobs to produce that technology to do the jobs that used to be done by people and are now being done by technology. Think about bank tellers as an example of the way that this has worked. And so what's going to be happening in the acceleration here is the rapid, highly accelerated, light speed transition of the economy into all things augmented by knowledge-driven enterprises. So I was listening this morning to the CEO of Lyft talking about their autonomous vehicles and autonomous vehicle systems and autonomous vehicle networks that will be working on B2B shipping of parts, from one business to another business, not being taken by a truck or this or that. So what that means then is that the economy of the future is going to be dramatically different than the economy of the past, more technologically based, more knowledge-driven based, and it's going to require higher and higher levels of lifelong learning and education for everybody. So where we see things going is that the speed of change is going to accelerate, and if you can get on with that, then you're going to have more opportunities, more jobs, higher incomes. All these things are possible, but you've got to be able to get into the flow of the river. The old rivers are not going to work in the same way. It's new rivers, new rapids, and you need a new canoe, probably a kayak, actually, with a small cover to keep the water from coming in, because the rapids are moving higher. They're not moving lower.
Dr. Crow, this topic that you raised, I think, is really on the tip of the tongue nationally, and you see post-high school education at a level that the rest of us, you're in a much better vantage point than we are. But I keep hearing that we're having declining enrollment at this point, but as a result of COVID, due to, well, I always thought that during economic downturns that higher education enrollment went up. But
you're talking.
Is that what's happening now?
So our enrollment is up 7.5%. So we have no decrease in enrollment at all, and our online enrollment is up 20% and accelerating. And so enrollments are up or down in some ways based on an institution's ability to adapt to COVID itself. And so there's a lot of things that are going on. But Mayor, to your root question, we will suffer immensely if we continue to produce any high school dropouts. I'll just let that sink in for a second. We will suffer immensely. Those folks, for the most part, with some rare exceptions, and everybody focuses on the rarity, the super genius, who could solve the math equation at age 5. Okay, well, there's one person like that for every 100 million people. I wouldn't exactly think that's going to be the outcome for all of us. Some of us, like me, and we had to go to college forever to be able to get anything done, and that's meant to be a joke. And so the high school, we've got to get everyone through high school with a 21st century high school diploma. Right now, we've got a lot of great 1950s high school diplomas, and that means people aren't ready for what lies ahead. So if I say to the average citizen, listen, the vaccine that you're taking is a messenger ribonucleic acid configuration of DNA altering molecules that are going to alter the way in which your body interacts with an attacking ribonucleic acid, also known as COVID, you should actually be able to understand that. And we don't, for the most part, because our educational framework is inadequate. And then once we get everybody through high school, we need to start treating everybody with more respect and more dignity based on any choice that they take, the military, technical school, community college, university, and then realize that all those people, regardless of the choices that they take, it doesn't make any difference if you're a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician or whatever. You're still living in a highly technologically advanced, very complicated economy, very complicated democracy, and very complicated, as you know from the virus, biological system. You must be educated to be able to, throughout your life, to be able to keep up. So we've got to change the notion that somehow education is for a single small part of your life, a single small part of your existence. You either go to college or you don't go to college. That's absurd. You should be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it, once you finish high school. We just have to get everybody to finish high school.
Well, thank you. That's encouraging to hear that ASU's enrollment is up, because I'd heard that some other higher education institutions were struggling as a result of COVID. So I'm not surprised that ASU's innovated, its way out of that trajectory.
Well, we already know for the fall semester coming up, we've never seen applications like we have now. It is beyond belief what's happening to us right now.
Wow. And by the way, for the viewers at home, if you didn't understand that question that Dr. Crow put out there, feel free to email me and I'll get back to you on that, because I was on that. I was right there with you on that. I have no idea what you said, but I can find the area of a triangle, which has never helped me at all.
No, well, that's actually not true. If you can find the area of a triangle, you know what area is. If you know what area is and you can find the area of a triangle, you know that there are objects that are more complicated than squares or circles. And so it turns out that you have a calculating capability now that you may not have had before you knew how to figure that out.
Wow. See, for years I've been telling people that I'm a genius. No one's ever listened. And
so it's kind of funny, so we make everybody take algebra, and people say, well, I don't need any algebra. We say, well, algebra isn't about math. It's not about learning algebra. You don't really need algebra for the sake of algebra, except in a few fields. But algebra teaches the concept of solving for an unknown. Yeah. Once you know how to solve for an unknown, once you then understand there are unknowns, you have to solve for unknowns. There are methods to solve for unknowns. That's all you really need to know. And it teaches that to you and then gives you that as a conceptual tool.
Wow. I like this.
There you go.
I think there's a reason you're where you are, and Mayor Giles and I are not. I've got a question for you. This is kind of off this topic, but our research team here at Mesa Morning Live delved into your past, and apparently you were quite an athlete in your younger days. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Well, I mean, I grew up in a military family, and so my father said, "You won't be anything but an athlete because you have to get out onto the battlefield." So all my brothers and I, we were all football, wrestling, track and field, and all that, and did all kinds of things and lots of fun. I was a heavyweight wrestler.
Wow!
And then when I went to college, I became a javelin thrower. I had other events, but I really focused my energy at Iowa State. I was a javelin thrower. Really liked being a javelin thrower. I loved training, loved sports. I think it should be a part of as many people's lives as possible. It teaches all kinds of things, and it was unbelievably powerful for me, and even occasionally fun, except when you get beat over and over and over and over. And I guess you learn something from that also. So I as a heavyweight wrestler, so I weighed. I go through various levels of fatness, and so but I would wrestle people that weighed over 100 pounds more than I did. And a funny thing about that was that so people would say, well, those guys are just big fat hogs. And I said, have you ever seen a shaved grizzly bear? They look a lot like those guys. And there's a layer of flubber on the outside, and below that are muscles and bones so powerful. I used to feel my shoulder ligaments being separated from the bone because these quote unquote fat people were so strong that they were going to rip my arm off. So I was also that kind of athlete, just one that was trying to survive while being crushed by shaved grizzly bears.
Wow, that is a great, you just described me, except for not the shaved part. And by the way, as a guy that used to live in Iowa and now I live in Arizona, good move on your part. Much better weather here than Ames, Iowa.
Yes, there were some cold days in Ames, Iowa. That's right.
And by the way, javelin thrower, that's a cool sport. Javelin catcher, that's down the ladder.
Yeah. I saw a kid hit with a javelin once. That's not a pretty scene. It went through his thigh.
Oh man, I'm gonna be on YouTube looking for that later on. Well, Dr. Crow, when I always say that our main guests are busy, and they usually are, but I know, what do you do in your spare time? Is there such a thing? Do you have like 2 or 3 minutes a day that you're not getting smarter?
You know, I spend a lot of time reading. I love to hike. I hike everywhere, go everywhere. I just love to climb stuff and sadly, as I've gotten a little bit older, I keep trying to break records. And so I was trying to break this one record of this hike I was on. And I could tell I was running down this hill, and I could tell, you're probably going to fall. You're probably going to fall. You need to slow down. You're probably going to fall. And then I fell. And by the time I get home, my wife is looking at my shirt, and she says, what an idiot. You have brown, bloody mud all over the outside of your shirt, your pants, your legs. What are you doing? Are you still running? Are you stupid? Are you still running? And so I like to hike, I like to run, and I like not to fall when I can keep from falling.
That's awesome. Your wife and my wife sound very similar. And by the way, my goal, I'm a very goal-driven person. My goal is to be the oldest person to ever hike Mount Everest. The current record is held by an 84-year-old guy. So I'm just waiting. I mean, there's no reason to peak early. I'm going to start training.
Well, now you can go over there and you can get somebody like carry you up there with your oxygen mask on. So I don't know. There may be ways to do it. So.
That's awesome. Well, Dr. Crow, in all seriousness, thank you so much. You know, I used to travel all around this great country. And when people found out I was from Arizona, they inevitably would say, man, ASU, if I could do it all over again, I'd go to ASU. There's nothing like walking through that campus in the winter and seeing the beautiful campus, and it continues to get better and better. So keep up the good work. If somebody's sitting here at home and watching this, and they've got a grandson or granddaughter that's thinking about where should they go to school, got a pitch for ASU?
We're ready. The pitch is we've got over 400 degrees. We've got kids from 140 countries, every state. We've got a learning environment that's made up of what the world really looks like, with a fantastic faculty of over 5,000 people that are really driving forward every level of creativity imaginable. So, and we're not stuck up. And so come on down. We're ready.
That's awesome. You know, I haven't been south in a while. Is U of A still there?
Yeah, they're open. They're open.
All right.
You know, we have a can and a long string. We're communicating to them, you know, saying, you know, come on up. The coast is clear. I
joke U of A will always be there because not everybody can get into ASU.
There's that, yeah.
So, Dr. Crow, thank you. Thanks for laughing at that, by the way. And if you're a wildcat, it's a joke. Thank you so much, Dr. Crow, for coming. Man, keep an eye out for all the great things that ASU is doing, not only in Mesa, Polytechnic, Scottsdale. They're taking over. It's basically going to be, it's going to be ASU.
For sure. Well, Dr. Crow, we're excited to have you out to Mesa, show you what all the ripple effect that the downtown campus is already creating, and we got some great hikes for you too. So we'll try to get on.
I've done a lot of hikes in Mesa. There's a lot of great places to hike. So
yes, there is.
All right, nice to see everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Crow, for being here. Man.
All right, bye-bye.
That's, you know, I went into this knowing I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. But when you listen to this, you go, oh my gosh, this is, stuff they're doing is amazing.
Well, yeah, Dr. Crow really is, you can't overstate what a national figure he is, and the turnaround that, I mean, I went to ASU back in the 80s.
When?
I graduated from ASU Law School in 1987. I couldn't get in now. You go there now, it's in the top 25 law school in the country, but he just takes a program and does that over and over and over again. And it's just like with the Sidney Poitier School. He builds an amazing world-class facility, and the ASU Film School in the next few years is going to be one of the most prestigious film schools in the United States. And he's done that with the journalism school, with the law school, with the biotech campus. You know, he really has elevated to a national level the prestige of Arizona State University in many, many ways.
That's awesome. Well, that was a great job on getting him, finding time in his schedule to get him in here. Good, kudos, Sally. Nicely done. Well, you know what, Mayor Giles, it's been a pleasure to share the desk with you today. You came up with a lot of great questions that I would never have known to ask.
Well, Mark, thanks for letting me. Again, I was excited to be here to hear more about the ASU, but also the HoHo Camps. That is such a spring training is such a critical part of our economy. And then we're hopeful that, you know, we're already looking forward to next year, although we're going to have as good a time as possible this spring. But then also to talk about with Shannon about really one of the golden linings of the pandemic is there are parts of our economy that are doing really well, and real estate is one of them. So it's been fun to see a lot of the parts of the Mesa national economy are really thriving right now.
That's great. Well, here's what I take from today. You should feel glad that ASU's where they are. They're represented all over the valley. You should go to spring training games starting here in a couple of, like 17 days. And while you're there, you can get pre-approved for your mortgage through Guild Mortgage at Shannon Hines. She'll take good care of you.
Yeah.
You know what we like to do, and it's not always doable, is have some music. Maybe to close out our show. We reached out to Maroon 5. You know who they are? You have,
of course, yeah.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
They were unavailable, but we got Maroon and Gold from ASU. This puts a nice little bow on the whole ASU episode. So without further ado, by the way, make sure you go back and look at past episodes of Mesa Morning Live and look forward to Marches. We're going to have a great show coming for you in March and every month. As a little sign off, enjoy. I'm going to say this right. This is the marching band of ASU, the Maroon and Gold. Thanks so much. Stay safe out there, folks. We'll get through this. We'll see you next month at Mesa Morning Live.
Band, horns are up.
Coach Herm here. Forks up.